What to do when your car breaks down and how to fix it super cheap so you don't spend a fortune. And I say this as somebody who's worked on many of my own cars, especially when I was broke, especially when I didn't have a whole lot of money, especially when I was in high school. I learned how to fix my own cars. And at times I still do it to this day, even though I have more than enough to get my cars fixed and I don't have to touch it. Sometimes I just do it because I can't believe what they charge to fix cars these days when it comes to certain types of cars. I have a Range Rover, so at times, yeah, man, kind of wears on you. But anyway, we're going to jump into tonight's coaching video. In case you're in a position right now where you're still trying to save money and you have a car and it tends to break on you and you don't want to be dumping like thousands of dollars in it and you just want to fix it on the cheap, I'm going to tell you how to do that in tonight's coaching video. So, just to jump into this, the best way to fix your car on the cheap, well, first of all, is never, ever, 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 ever bring it to the dealer, okay? Because they're not going to do anything that you can't do yourself, which is basically change out parts, right? I mean, that's essentially what fixing a car is. It's just changing out the part, right? Figuring out what's going on, then changing out the part. So, first off, you want to avoid the dealer, okay? Second of all, if you are going to be fixing your car often, well, everybody should have this. I mean, I've had this forever, but you should have, and I usually keep this in my car, I have an OBD scanner, right? If you don't know what an OBD scanner is, it's basically when you get a check engine light, you can plug this into your into the electrical port, which is usually underneath your, it's underneath your steering wheel, in most cases to the left, towards your left knee in your car. You'll see kind of like an open port there that looks like you could plug something in. That's where you plug in your OBD scanner, right? And what you do is once you plug that in, you don't turn your car on all the way. You just kind of turn it to the on position and you let the scanner do its work. It will scan your entire engine and then it will pop up a code and you will usually say something like, you know, P0 something something something, right? And that will give you the code. And once you get that code, guess what you could do? You could get on Google, get on your phone, and just type in that code. And you will likely have a number of results that pop up with somebody else, many other people having the same issue. And by then, at that point, you will know, like right then and there, exactly what's wrong with your car. And if it's a check engine light, it's the reason you have check engine lights is because it is you have an emissions problem, right? So it's 99.9% of the time you have an emissions issue. And the worst case scenario is it's your CAT, right? Your catalytic converter. That's the worst case scenario because that's big dollars. You're talking about $1,500 or more. However, in most cases, it's not that serious. In many cases, you could just drive with that check engine light on. It's not a big deal. You can even turn it off if you're tired of looking at it. Just use your OBD scanner and clear the code, and it will turn off the check engine light so you don't have to look at it. However, that problem's not going to go away just because you erased the code, right? It's still going to be there, and it might even pop right back up a few days later. And if it's really serious, it will pop right back up, you know, after a few miles of driving. The check engine light will come back on. That's how you know it's a more serious problem. And if the check engine light is flashing, that's definitely serious, and that's something that you don't want to drive with. Right, but if it's just on and it's not flashing, it's not a big deal. It's something that you could take care of maybe a little bit later, a few weeks later, even a few months later, depending on how often you drive, if you don't have the money to fix it. So, that said, A, don't go to the dealer. B, get yourself an OBD scanner. Where can you buy this? You can buy it at any local auto parts store, but if you want to get one really cheap, just go to Walmart, or you could even get on Amazon and find one there for cheap, and you can look at the feedback and the reviews and just, you know, it shouldn't cost you more than, you know, like 30 bucks. I mean, you just need a basic one. You don't need like the $200 professional OBD scanner that's going to give you everything, you know, that you're not going to understand. Just get a basic one. I have a very basic one that I keep in my car, you know, if the check engine light comes on, which is very rare. I've never had it in my Range Rover, believe it or not, because people, you know, people always bag on my Rover like, oh, so unreliable. And I tell people, like, I've driven that car almost 100,000 miles now. Not a single issue. Yes, it's a Range Rover. Not a single issue other than normal maintenance, normal wear and tear, which is what I was bitching about in the opening of this video, was the normal wear and tear even is pretty expensive, right? So recently on my Range Rover, for example, I did my brakes and did my brakes on that car. And when I went to the dealer, right, because I just wanted to drop it off, and they were like, oh, okay, brakes, front and rear, rotors, you know, I needed the whole nine, right? They were like, okay, I think it was like close to $2,000. I'm like, no. I'm picking up my car. They're like, oh, we can have it done by this afternoon. I'm like, it's okay, I'll do it, right? Oh, you know, you want to make sure you get the right parts. I'm like, I'm pretty good with cars, right? So what did I do? I ordered the parts from British Atlantic, which sells all genuine Range Rover parts. Ordered the actual part I needed, which was, I think it was like $485 for everything. That was like the brakes, the rotors, the brake pads, basically everything. Sensors. It was under $500, free shipping, got it shipped, and then I went on Craigslist and I hired the same guy who I always hire to do my brakes, right? Came out and I was like, hey, can you handle a Range Rover? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I got the parts. Came over, did the whole job for, I think it was like, what did he charge me for that? I think it was like $100, $100. I gave him like a $20 tip because I always do that. That's why he comes to me like, and anytime I call, he's like right there. Right? And I don't have to go to the dealer. He comes right to my house and just does it, and it's done. Right? So in total, I spent $600 as opposed to $2,000. Because to me, I'm like, you know, there's some things that are worth my, you know, not worth my time. But when that type of difference comes in, I'm like, okay, we're talking about a $1,400 difference for what? You know, I mean, I can easily just order this part in 5 minutes and then call Eric, the guy's name is Eric, to come out and install this, and it's going to be done the same day regardless once I get the part. So I did, and it was done, and I saved $1,400. You know, that to me, I'm like, you know, I don't care how rich I get. Like $1,400 is $1,400, especially for something I know does not cost that much because I've worked on my own cars. And I could have done the brakes myself actually, but I did not want to even waste my time with that. So I'm like, Eric, come down. I'll pay you to do it. Either way, the way you fix your car cheap is doing exactly that, right? Is you get the parts yourself, okay? And then you hire somebody off of Craigslist to just come to your house and do it like a mobile mechanic. And obviously you need to vet that person too, right? And make sure that they have some feedback and some happy customers. And it's not that hard to find these days, especially with Yelp. A lot of these guys are on Yelp, or they create a Yelp page just to let customers know that they're you know, they're not scammers, and they're not, you know, that they actually know what they're doing, and they're technicians, and this is something that they do regularly. As the sun blares down on me here, let me step more into the light. But that is the absolute cheapest way to do it, is to get the parts yourself, and then just hire some mobile mechanic off Craigslist to install it for you. If not, if you really want to bring it to a shop, you could even find that on Craigslist. Just find somebody who's reputable. Again, you could do your research on it. Or you could just, you know, if you don't want to do that, you could just get on Yelp, period, and then find a shop who is willing to install your parts for you. Many shops will do it. Some shops won't. Almost everybody on Craigslist will do it for you, right? That's why I say Craigslist is the easiest, as long as you vet them. But not all shops are going to want to touch your parts, right? So sometimes they'll be like, no, we're not going to install that for you. But others will. They'll be like, oh yeah, just do this. Like most quality tune-ups will do it for you, right? They'll just give you a ballpark of like what it'll cost to install the part, and you pay them for it, and they'll do it. That's, you know, that's a cheap route you could take. Now, if you really want to be cheap, you buy the part yourself. Okay, you don't even have to get it new, right? Like I got my brakes new online from British Atlantic, but I mean, I could have gone to eBay if I really wanted to be a cheap ass and not even use genuine Land Rover parts. I could have just gotten, like, you know, any other brakes, right? That's a little riskier because you're not using genuine parts, so sometimes they're not going to match up as well as the original. So I would say just try to stick to the original parts as much as possible. They don't have to be OEM. Like, say you have a, I don't know, like a Ford or something. They don't have to be like, you know, Ford OEM. They could be aftermarket parts. They could be like parts from China. I mean, again, they're not going to be the highest quality, but they're going to get you by. You know, they're not going to like leave you stranded right away, but they're going to get you by. You could get those easily off of somewhere like eBay, and just buy, you know, you could buy the part used. Doesn't even have to be new. You could buy the part used if you really, really want to penny pinch. You buy the part used on eBay, and usually on eBay, now they have on eBay Motors, like if you enter in your exact year of your car, make, model, and then you click on a part, say you want like, I don't know, like a water pump, right? And you find a used water pump for your, you know, your exact car. So it's like a 2002 Ford Ranger. And then you click, you type that into the search, 2002 Ford Ranger water pump. And you see a used one pop up, someone's selling it. You can click on that part, and before you buy it, it will show if it matches your car and your model and your size engine, right? So it will show you before if it will fit or won't fit, right? And that way you're not buying the wrong part. And then once you receive the part, just install it yourself. You might think, oh, I've never done that. Never worked on my own engine. It's actually easier than it sounds, right? Don't make mountains into, what do they call it? Don't make mountains out of molehills, something like that. But anyway, it's, yeah, working on a car is very straightforward. It's not something to be scared about. It's something that's very easy. And if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, it's really just nuts and bolts. It's taking off the old part and putting in the new one. And if you really need guidance, you could go to YouTube and you could literally type in your make, model, car, replace, and then type in replace water pump. And I guarantee somebody has already posted that video. As ludicrous as it sounds, like there's so many videos on YouTube where somebody's done a tutorial replacing a part on their car. And it's usually a car you would just be like, nah, nobody's ever done this, and you'll be surprised. Like somebody's already like posted that video. And all you have to do is just follow their tutorial, like, oh, this is how you replace a water pump. You remove these two big bolts first, and then you remove this electrical cord, unplug this electrical wire, and then pull it out. You know, might have to remove your fan belt and all this. I mean, it shows you how to do it step by step, right? So you can essentially do it yourself if you have an afternoon to do that. I mean, and I used to do that for a lot of my own cars. I just worked on them myself because it used to pain me to pay somebody money to do something I knew I could do, right? And many of these things are very easy to replace, especially on older cars. Not so much on newer cars because there's not a whole lot of space, if you notice, in the engine compartment. Like you could barely fit your hand in there these days. But like older cars that are, you know, early 2000s and earlier than that, especially 90s, there's plenty of room to get your hands in there and just do it yourself and unbolt the part and then put your part in, you know, and then you don't have to pay anybody, right? It's just a matter of time and patience. And it's a great skill to have too, because usually, like, if you ever get stuck or you're on the side of the road, you won't panic anymore. Like, whenever I see a check engine light, you know, if I've been like my girlfriend's car or anything and she panics, I'm like, it's fine, don't worry, right? Or I'll plug in my OBD scanner for her and I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. You can fix that later. Right? It's not a big deal. Or if it's something that's easily replaceable, I'm like, you know, she panics like, oh my gosh, how much do you think that'll cost? I'm like, no, that's just an alternator. That's not a big deal, right? That's easy to replace. So yeah, you'll become more confident in your mechanic skills, right? Where just you'll be able to do all the basics, and you'll just not want to pay somebody to do it. You know, there's certain things I refuse to do these days. I won't do my own oil changes. It's just not worth my time. All right? I mean, me and my dad used to do that together, and it was fun with him. But now it's just like it's a matter of time, and I don't even think my dad does his own oil changes anymore. It's just too like. He's gotten too old, and for me, I just don't have the time, so I just go through and, you know, the cheapest place I could find to do it. Like if it's, you know, my girl's car, obviously for my Land Rover, I have to bring it to Land Rover, so they have to do it. And for me, that's like, they charge like $200 for the oil change, which is still, it's kind of high for an oil change, but, you know, it's just not worth my time to do it. So I don't mind doing that. But when it came to those brakes, I was like, dude, $2,000, you can't do any better than that? I'm like, no, that's the rate. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it myself then. And I did, right? It wasn't a big deal. So, yeah. So there are going to be times where you're going to have to work on your own car if you don't want to have to spend a whole lot of money on it. And if you've done that in the past, you've spent a lot of money bringing your car or to a dealer, you know, most times you don't have to, unless it's really something serious. But most issues you have with your car are going to be a simple check engine light or a simple part that needs to be replaced, whether it's normal maintenance, usually your brakes, alternator, you know, even just a battery. I mean, these things are so like trivial that you could do them yourself. And if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, you could load up YouTube and just watch somebody's tutorial. I mean, it really is that easy. It's not hard at all. I mean, some guys don't like to get their hands dirty, but it's really not that big a deal. Wear gloves, wear some plastic gloves, and spend an afternoon changing your part, and you'll save several $100s in most cases, right? At least a few hundred, just doing it yourself. And even if you bring it to a mechanic and you get the part yourself, you're still going to save, you know, a good chunk of change, you know, maybe not hundreds, but at least 100 or so, right? Just getting the part yourself, because when you get it from your mechanic or, you know, especially the dealer, they're going to gouge you, right? That's where they make a lot of their money, is by gouging you in service and parts. So if you don't have to do it, why do that? Okay, especially if you're out of warranty, right? And you still got your car and it's aging. I mean, many of these things you could do yourself. So that's my take on that. As always, guys, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you'd like to add, anything I might have missed, any other helpful tips you might have for fixing your own car that I did not include in tonight's coaching video, just drop them in the comments below and share with the tribe. So until next time, this is Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets, signing out here from top of Vegas. Have an excellent view as always, and I always love to share it with you guys, so here we are. Hope you're enjoying it as well. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Go ahead and smash it right now. Also hit that notification bell right next to it so you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on my YouTube channel. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton when you actually subscribe to my channel. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, so please make sure you're subscribed as well. That way you'll get my videos fresh as I upload them, and you won't have to dig and search through YouTube and waste your time doing that. You will get them as I upload them. The second I upload them, you will be notified. Right? So make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well. And for all of you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, and platinum pill content that I'm teaching you even further, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. And the reason I'm doing that, obviously, is to protect my content from YouTube in the event they try to shut me down one day. All of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets content will be protected. And it's real easy to get signed up. Right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me who can't afford $1. Right? Really easy to get signed up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box and we'll take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now and I will see you in my next coaching video. Alright, signing out over here from Vegas. Got the Eiffel Tower behind me, got the Cosmo where I used to stay. Long story with that. Nothing against the Cosmo. The Aria in the distance there. I think you can see Vidara and the Luxor, Big Pyramid, Mandalay Bay, and there goes Bellagio right across. But it's an excellent view, and I usually leave my curtains open. I wake up to this like this big sunshine just coming through my window, but I love to wake up to this view. It's spectacular, and if you've never been to Vegas, you should come and check it out. It's pretty awesome. So until next time.